Welcome, everybody, to Wall Street Reporter's next Superstock live stream, where we bring you those stocks which have that 10x to 100x upside potential. Companies going after massive multi-billion-dollar market opportunities with multiple catalysts in place and at the inflection point. And I think LTRY.com is actually demonstrating, proving to the market that they are at that inflection point right now with the current news, with key hires. We have one of them with us right here, which is Tamer Hassan, president of Sports.com. And of course, we have Matthew, the CEO of LTRY.com, the parent company. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thanks very much, Jack. Yeah, great to see you again.
Okay, excellent. So, guys, in case some of you don't know, Tamer Hassan is, actually one. Tamer, I think you're actually our biggest celebrity in many years since Donald Trump. We did a live stream with Trump when he was running the casino business, like years back when it was in the New Jersey casinos. But since then, you're the biggest celebrity. So you're
well, my friend and brother and chairman and president of our company sings that from the hilltops. You do know, he says, you're the only Hollywood actor or actor that's a main board director on a NASDAQ listed company. So give that one to Matt, because that makes him very proud that he's achieved that for me. But
excellent. I was looking here at this is the IMDb page. I guess everybody can look it up. So I don't know, you've done, a literally it could be a million movies. I mean, famously, Layer Cake is the big. I remember Layer Cake. A bunch of them. Like your face is like very well known with people. Definitely, they're going to recognize you from somewhere or other.
If I take the glasses off, I do get mistaken sometimes for Antonio Banderas or Steven Seagal. But what I would say is, if Antonio Banderas and Steven Seagal had a baby, I'd be the love child, right?
Now, here's a question. Now, you were a boxer originally, right?
I don't know about originally, but yes, I did do a little bit of boxing a little while back, many years ago.
So you versus Steven Seagal, who would because I think he's an Aikido guy, right?
I can honestly tell you, there isn't a man in Hollywood that could ever beat me. That's it. I'm not going any further than
that. We'll leave it there.
Just leave it there.
I think he's. But let's get into Sports.com. Matthew, I want to start with you. Give us kind of the backdrop. What's happening with Sports.com, because again, this is the inflection point. We're seeing things happen. Tell us how you got involved with Tamer. Give us the kind of the background here.
Thanks, Jack. Well, that was a great introduction. So Tamer will be pleased with that. And whilst this interview, we could just speak about Tamer's accolades and films that he's done over the last 20 years. And let me tell you, they speak for themselves. And Tamer's had an illustrious career, and we're very pleased and proud to have him on board. But look, since we spoke last, I said to you when I was in Los Angeles last week when we were with FIFA, etc., that there were a lot of announcements coming out. And it's not all about acquisitions and funding, etc. I mean, those are all part of the turnaround and the buy and build strategy. But you've got to get in place the right people. And I firmly believe that with turnarounds, we talked about before as being pride ourselves on being turnaround specialists. This is different because we are building a foundation, and that foundation primarily is people first, and then the business forms around those great people, and that will create longevity. So Tamer has been involved. Tamer and I have been friends a long time. Has been involved in this project from day one. We took a diverse approach. I think this is a company. When you're talking about turning around a company on NASDAQ, you need out of the box thinking. I hate using that term, but on this particular case, it was true. And you need views from all sorts of different walks of life. And Tamer is not only somebody that, of course, I knew from the screen. How could you not know films like The Business and Football Factory and so on? And of course, he's just a big lump of a man. And whenever he walks in anywhere, people know who he is. But he has an incredible instinct. He's taken to business like a duck to water. He's been involved in acting, of course, but his career spans back through football teams, coaching, boxing, and has a pipeline of businesses that he brought to our family office back in 2017, 2018. And some of those have turned into really exciting business opportunities. And Lottery was the perfect stepping stone in my mind to have Tamer involved at board level and help us with this turnaround, on the basis that once we built out the Sports.com model, there would be attached to that model Sports.com studios. And that is really where Tamer's heart's at. We a couple of years ago looked at perhaps setting up the Tamer Hassan acting school in Cyprus. But once we'd really built out the plan for Sports.com, it was clear to me that Sports.com needed its own studios in order to build original content, especially around sports, documentary and film. And this is a skill set that Tamer has that we don't have. He's got a vision on how we build those studios. I think it's fair to say that we've been pretty active. The team behind the scenes are looking at where do we structure Sports.com, where do we domicile Sports.com studios. London is key, potentially. Places like Cyprus, we've looked at Ireland and even the US. But this is not just a virtual studios. We are keen on looking at ways of really building these sports documentary and film, integrating it into the platform Sports.com, along with the live streaming. You know, it's a whole media play. We spoke about that before. And I think that Tamer's perspective on how we build this studios organically over the next 3 or 4 years is really exciting. Anyway, look, I'm always delighted to come on and talk about the vision of Lottery.com and Sports.com, but I think now's the time that also you start meeting the team. So it's a good place to start with Tamer's new appointment of president of Sports.com Studios.
Thank you.
Yeah, listen. I think Matthew, what you said is very key, because right now what the market is seeing, that you're bringing the people in. Again, any great company, everything is revolves around the team, the talent inside, and we're seeing that now. So the operations with Sports.com are starting. So with that said, Tamer, what's your vision? What is your vision for Sports.com?
Sports.com, I mean, if I give a little bit of a background to me and where we got here first, I've literally been, we have a saying, chomping at the bit for the last 3 years. And Matt, I've been sort of, beside Matt for a little while saying, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? But as everybody knows, to pull a company from D-list over the last 3 years and what we've done with the turnaround with Lottery.com is kind of unheard of, which brilliantly for me has now been appointed as president of Sports.com is magical. It really is, because I am, as much as Matt sings, from the rooftops about what my entrepreneurial skills are. My heart is with content, film, entertainment, and moving forward with technology. Over the last 5-10 years, maybe, I've looked into technology a lot more, and I've always been sort of trying to think out the box especially with technology. I love technology. I love the way it's moving forward, especially with AI. People are terrified of AI. So with Sports.com Studios, it's just exactly the right platform we need to create what we want to do as a tech company first and foremost, and then start bringing content, and especially immersive content, to our audience. But looking at where we're going to be moving as well with film, TV, and content, looking outside the box looking outside the box of what we want to create and what we want to do and how we want to move and what we want to give to our audience is simple in a way. If I can break it down and simplify it for you, most platforms, if you look at DAZN, Sky Sports, whatever it is, you will predominantly go to DAZN and watch a boxing fight because Sheikh Turk has brilliantly controlled boxing and said to everybody, whatever you want to watch, it's here. So you pay your money and you leave. Same with everything else, a football channel, whatever it is you want to watch, you pay. Predominantly, that's the system and the platform of how these platforms work. We want to take it to another step. I know there are other platforms out there that are giving us immersive content, live streaming, and their tech is sort of, some are better than others. But if I can give you a comparable of, we want to be basically the Netflix of sports streaming. We want to be able to have content, when I say content, across the ball with sports, from tiddlywinks to F1. If anybody doesn't know what tiddlywinks is, if it becomes a sport, we want to screen it. We want to have interactive things, you know, with people, stars, you know, they want to be able to get in and be immersive and be a part of it, from documentaries to podcasts to film. I mean, when we say film, Bend It Like Beckham, it's sport related. We want to stream it. So we want to have sections of sports.com where people can just not just click in to come for one particular sport. And look, predominantly we're very heavy on F1 because of Matthew's background and our head of acquisitions, Mark Bertram, who is Mr. Football. There's no one in the business that finds acquisitions in sports, especially football clubs like Mark Bertram. Paul Jordan, F1. So we're very strong on anything race, from MotoGP to women's racing to F1 to IndyCar. You know, we've got some acquisitions sitting in place, which I don't really want to go into right now because I've been told by my adult, Matthew McGahn, to keep my mouth shut. Otherwise, he's going to kill me after the interview. But we will eventually get back to that. And the announcements are going to be coming across very soon. So you won't have to wait too long to see where we're going. But for me as well, on a creative one, I want to create a platform for filmmakers, for tech for people that are in the tech side of immersive content. Because not only are we going to create content ourselves, what I want to create is a platform for young filmmakers to come in and sit and talk to us and give us their vision. And so maybe we can give them a platform to stream and show what they want to do and speak from the heart. Basically, we want honest stories. We want real honest stories to go onto the platform. The tech side of it is for another part of our company. And they're going to have to format it. But me as a writer, I will always write like I've got 100 million to make a film, and then I'll pass it over and let the back room strip it back and say, well, you can do it, but you can do it for this. So that's kind of where we're stepping forward with it. We want it to be exciting. We want it to be rock and roll. We want it to be punk. We want it to literally cover every aspect of the film and entertainment industry. And I'm really excited about AI. We want to create, I mean, I've been given the go ahead to look for a physical studio, but the physical studio we want to do isn't just going to be stages, post and pre-production. If anybody understands about film, we want to get into the AI space. We want to be ahead of the game. We want to be visionaries in that game.
No. So I'm seeing this as more of like you're doing, let's call it evergreen content. So it's not like, you know, the live, it's evergreen stuff that, you know, the content that you're creating, the sports related content, is something which is going to be relevant, you know, not just today, but a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now. It's not just today's baseball game or whatever.
No. If you look at a smart platform, anything smart just evolves. We want to be so ahead of the game that literally, if I can simplify it for you, we push the button and we're moving forward. Everything in tech and everything in film, especially the platform and the way films are made, the way content's created, is moving at a rate of knots. We want to be able to not wait and have, you know, look at how we need to keep going. We want to be able to push a button, reset ourselves and go again. And if we can, be just ahead of the game. So, you know, we're visionaries in the game. We want people to catch us up. And if people want to look at what we're doing and how we're doing it, we're happy for them to come on board and share that experience with us and collaborate with us, because everything in content is a collaboration. The way films are made, the way content's made, the way entertainment's delivered to the audience has to be a collaboration. If we want to sit there, like, let's say, for instance, I don't know, if I use an analogy of Airbnb, let's say, for instance, Airbnb is Airbnb, that's what they do. Nobody else can follow Airbnb. I'm just using that as an example. We don't want to be that. We want to be able to collaborate, learn, and bring young people in with their tech to collaborate with us and help us move forward.
Okay. Can I just add something there, which is really important, and I think it was a smart move, Jack, to ask Tamer on, because he's got a real nice way of explaining Sports.com's vision. But what we've learned about live streaming over the last couple of years is that, look, some of these sports can be not necessarily purists like ourselves, but if you take Formula One, MotoGP, even football, a lot of the youngsters today, an American football match, baseball match, it's too long, and to get them engaged or to fire them up and get them involved in the sport, it's been difficult for some of these older purist sports. But what Formula One's done, for example, has it's demonstrated that, but by introducing something like Drive to Survive, the Netflix series, it has suddenly got a whole new young audience base. I mean, it's quite something. And I think what Tamer has demonstrated to us is that, look, if you engage with the youngsters, the next generation, and even if they are not necessarily interested in giving up an entire weekend to watch a Formula One race, a MotoGP race, baseball, basketball, whatever it is. I mean, some of these some of these events can go on 2, 3, 4 days. Right. There is a way of still making them extremely exciting and engaging. And I like that whole vision, which is, you know, if you want to engage with the next generation, and don't we ever need to engage with the next generation, then they've got to be able to watch the sports when they want, how they want, where they want. You know, it is an absolute must. And I think that this, as Tamer says, we can't be frightened of tech because it is a way of building your brands. Formula One, of course, was a huge brand. But do you think it's bigger now, or was it bigger before Liberty got involved? I think we'd all argue it's bigger now. You know, it's potentially a 30, 40, $50 billion business that was bought for circa around about 8 billion, but it has now more users and has more youngsters engaged in that sport than ever before. Why? I personally think Netflix has a lot to do with it. But it's shown that sports. And I know Tamer was just at the F1 premiere the other night. He was invited. I wasn't. I'm not angry about that.
You've got to be my plus one.
And look, I mean, that sport is absolutely on fire. So is it better now that it's built its audience base? It may not necessarily sit right with some of the purists. But from a Formula One fan, I'm delighted that the brand has just exploded the way it has, and that, you know, suddenly there's this movie starring Brad Pitt. I mean, phenomenal.
But if you look at it, Matt, on that film, it's a good example of what we're trying to create here. They've probably tripled their fan base with that movie. It was so good. It was so good that you literally feel like, when we're talking about immersive content, Jerry Bruckheimer literally knocked it out of the park with that movie. I can't watch a movie. I'll fall asleep within 10 minutes, and I'm in the business. I was on the edge of my seat and glued to it. It was so immersive. At times you thought you was in the car, and literally what F1's done with that movie is trebled, quadrupled their fan base on people coming and driving traffic into F1. And as Matt said, it's definitely 100% bigger than it ever was.
Agreed.
And that's where we kind of want to be. We want to be creating that content and driving traffic that way.
Okay, no, excellent. So bottom line is this: I think for investors looking at the stock, we're seeing again the inflection point. Oh, we have Tamer coming in. We have Tim. Oh, is it Sotham? Am I pronouncing it right? Sotham?
Tim Scotham.
Scotham. He's coming in as the CEO. The operationally, Tamer is handling the creative. So the rocket is on the launch pad. It's taken off. The train is leaving the station. So the question is next is, so this is getting into, so sports.com is going into operation mode, which again, big, very important. What can we expect in terms of news flow? What can the market expect to see over the next, let's call it 90 days? Are there, what's maybe, if you can talk about what's going into production, like what kind of news flow can we expect from sports.com?
Look, I'll set the stall out, and then I'm sure Tamer will add some glitz and glamour to it. Look, as far as we're concerned, sports.com is operational now. Key people are being put into the right slots. There will be a couple of other announcements as we bolster that team. Tamer has his own team that he's ready to bring in now. I believe that actually this week a couple have already started, and we are looking at several pre-production opportunities along the documentary side and film. I don't think no, I'm not. I'm not saying anything that's not already public. I think it's pretty common knowledge that we are actively looking to engage with a UK football club, either as a JV or owner, and I think it's also apparent that as we discussed before, Jack, last week, that the Ryan Reynolds model, which I think is very much based on the whole Beckham documentary, Into Miami, Ryan Reynolds, Wrexham documentary, that is now I think we can agree that's a tried and tested model that builds a brand very, very quickly once you put a whole documentary series behind something and help grow the brand. And we talked about motorsport, we talked about football. There are close ties, links now to Premier Sports in the US. We know that if you want to get those brands, if you want to grow those brands internationally, there's no better way of attaching those to those trophy assets, like motor racing, as we've done with IndyCar over the last few weeks. It's had a tremendous impact for us. The next step is to hopefully, in a very short future, we will be able to talk about our next project around English football, and that will give Tamer all of the ammunition that he needs to start producing something very exciting that we can release. So the next 90 days, I would say that we'll probably be able to make 2 or 3 announcements along those lines. Tamer has got a very busy 2025.
Rivalry is the word I'm looking for, Matt. Rivalry.
Good, you took the word
rivalry. Rivalry. They've not been rivaled yet. The Americans have not been rivaled yet. Mr. Reynolds, we're coming for you.
Very good. I think that's exactly right.
Excellent, gentlemen. On that note, I want to thank you, and we're looking forward to seeing more news coming out from Lottery Ahead. I know Matthew, it's actually company has been on a tear. There's been a lot of news flow, which I think is very important for the market, and now we have another element now from Sports.com, which is going to be adding to it. So things are looking very exciting for the next 90 days. Okay. Tamer, I want to thank you. Matthew, thank you again. And we look forward to hearing more in the coming weeks.
It's coming.
Great. Thanks for having us on, Jack. I enjoyed it as always.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Tam. Take care.
Thanks,
bye.
Man.